Howdy folks, and welcome back. We finished our monochromatic color brainstorming sheet and turned that in. Hopefully got some feedback on it. And now it's time to start painting our actual monochromatic painting. So I have a couple things. I've got my brainstorming sheet for reference. I have my photo that I'm looking at. It doesn't have to be printed out. Could be a book, could be on your computer, could be on your phone. Something to look at just to guide your drawing. I've got a printed copy here. You have your piece of painting paper. It's going to start looking like this, and then I'm going to have you sketch your image. So I already sketched it. I've got the layout of how I want it to go sitting on my paper. I've got my palette, I've got my brushes, a thing of water using an old clean yogurt container. I have my paints. You're going to want to make sure that you have black and white, and then whatever color you're using. So I'm going to use green, which, as we remember from our color wheel, we get by mixing yellow and blue. And then I also have my rag. I like to put a paper towel on top of it. This part gets dirty, this absorbs the moisture, and then it kind of doesn't have a big mess at the end. All right, so first thing I need to do is mix a big vat of whatever color I'm using. Now, if you're using red, that's easy. You don't have to mix red. Same with yellow or blue. But since I'm doing a secondary color, green, I have to mix a big vat of it, and then I'm going to make my different values. Okay, if you remember from the color wheel, blue is a very powerful color, and yellow is a little bit more of a submissive color, which means that it turns into other colors really quickly. It doesn't really hold its own. You guys had great big tubes of paint. I've got these dinky little tiny tubes of paint. So watch me try to squeeze the last bit out. Get out there, yellow. Okay, so since I only have a little bit of yellow, I can't keep adding yellow to it, which means that I need to kind of add blue bit by bit. I don't want to turn it into blue-green and then not be able to turn it back into yellow. So I'm actually going to put my blue off to the side. Let's get my water a little closer. And I'm going to add blue a little bit at a time until I get a nice green. So here we go. Really stir it. Sometimes you get these hidden pockets of color. So you'll think you have it perfect, and then you stir it more and the color changes. So really give it a good mix. Try to get it a consistent color. That is a beautiful yellow-green. However, that's not the color that we want. We want a green-green. Oh, I hope this isn't too much. If I'm not sure, I can put a little of it back. Better to start with a little and build than to go too far. Okay, really giving it a stir. Getting close, still a little on the yellow side. And if I'm not sure, I can put it up to my color wheel and check. If I want a little yellow-green, I can pull some of that out. Maybe I'll add a little white to one of these values. Maybe I want like a green for the rest of it. So I'll add more blue, give it a good stir, good stir. I'm looking at it, and this is not a lot of paint. You might find that you want more. It's kind of a trick because it's better to mix up a big vat so you don't have to keep trying to match the color. However, then you're kind of committed to painting that day. Oops. Because as you may have found out, this paint doesn't keep well for multiple days. It'll keep overnight, maybe for a day or two, but it's tricky to start a painting and then come back to it a week later. Because this is a plastic-based paint, I think you might find that it has dried. So I'm going to make a big old vat of paint, and then I'm going to understand that I kind of need to use it right away. Okay. One more green. Okay, and then in some of these, I'm gonna add a little bit of black, and in some of them, I'm gonna add a little bit of white. So I'll end up with my different values. Same thing, I'll put my black in a container rather than adding it directly, because I'm I don't want to make it too dark. It's easier to add a little bit at a time, right? Because that black's pretty powerful. Ooh, that's a nice value. Okay, that's probably pretty close to my 5. Yeah, that's pretty good. Kind of grays it too. You can see the way that the different values, the black and the white, will change your color. And I'll add a tiny little bit here. Need like a 4, it's a nice 4. Maybe I'll add a little bit more black to my 5. It's looking good. All right, I wish I had more paint, even more green paint. I might mix up some more green because I want to make my 6 really dark with just a little bit of green. So I want some of that green. I can even steal some. I'll take a clean brush to do this so I don't get black all over that center area. And then I want this to be really dark with just a hint of green. Okay, I've got some deep, deep darks. Yep, holding it up, that looks like a good 6. A little black left over on my brush. Maybe I'll use that to stir the 5. Let it get a little bit darker too. That's fine. It's looking a little light. Okay. So I've got 6, 5, 4. That's a good 3. I bet I could make a nice almost white with a clean brush. If I added a little white and then put just a hint of green in it, that would make a nice 1. I don't think I want a pure white. That would be a little jarring, right? Kind of out of nowhere. Like green, 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 white. Be a little bit of a shock. But if I add a little bit of a green to a white, it's just very subtle. It's kind of hard to see, I'm sure, in the video, but it's very light, but there's a hint of green. And I can have more values too. Let's say that I wanted to have something kind of in between the 2 and the 1. I could do that too. You're the boss of you. This is just to make sure that you have a good range. Sometimes we get stuck with 1 or 2 values in the middle, kind of our 3 and our 4. It's really boring for the viewer. The eye likes variety. It likes to see differences. So we want to make sure that we're giving the viewer, the audience, something good to look at. Okay, cool. So now that I have a range of values, I can use this as a guide, and then I can go ahead and go in and paint my picture. From this point out, I might paint it and let you watch just for fun. You absolutely do not have to. Some people like watching painting videos, so I'll actually end this picture here, and then if you feel like watching me kind of tinker around for a little bit, go ahead. All right, good luck making your values and painting your picture.